For most people, buying a home will be the largest investment they ever make. In today's video, we're going to go over 10 of the most vital, important things that you need to know before you buy that next home. My name is James Roberts. I'm with Security Home Mortgage. I've been a lender in Utah for over 23 years. And today I have some amazing people with me. I'm super excited to have them. I've got Geoff and Michelle Ruble. They've got tons of experience, many years in the business, and I'm just so excited to have them. So Geoff and Michelle, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thank
And,
you.
and I'm going to put you on the spot real quick and tell me kind of what do you love most about real estate? Geoff, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go. I love the long-term investment of it. It's safe. And not only that, you have a place to live. So that's another great thing I like about it.
I
Yeah.
love it.
I love working with clients. I love helping people, achieve their goal of home ownership. That's always fun. Or, helping them when they need to move or sell, whatever they need. We'd love to just be part of it.
Perfect. All right. Well, in today's video, we have several questions that we get asked many times throughout the years. And let's jump in right away. So the first one is something I hear all the time, and that is, are home prices going to drop? So Michelle and Geoff, what do you say when someone says to you, hey, I'm waiting to buy until home prices have dropped?
There's no crystal ball here. So we don't really know, but supply and demand is pretty evident here that it doesn't look like it's going to go any lower. But, there is a lack of inventory here in Utah. There is a lot of big families growing. So a lot of kids getting to the age where they want to buy homes. There's a lot of people moving in from out of state. And honestly, builders are not even building fast enough.
I'd like to add some interesting stats that you actually shared with me. When you look back over 80 years, 73 of the last 80 years, so 73 out of 80 years, the houses went up. That's 91%. And then 6 out of those 80 years, prices went down. So that's 8%. And then one of those years, the house prices stayed the same. So you have literally over a 90% chance going forward that the house prices are going to go up.
So even myself, I bought my current house in 2006, which was right before the crash. And looking back, it would be considered technically a horrible time to have bought. But even then, my home is now worth double what I paid for it.
Yeah.
So over 1, 2, or 3 year period, home prices could go down, but I've never seen in a 5-year period or a 10-year period when they've been down. They always will go up. And then how do I know when the best time to buy is? If I haven't bought a home before, when do I know when to get in?
Well, smart people are buying right now. I mean, the rates are high, unfortunately, but they can always, the goal is to refinance once those rates come down. And even right now, we're seeing negotiations going on where sellers are offering to help pay for a rate buy down, or, maybe paying for some closing costs for a buyer, some closing costs for buyers, which you can use, talk to your lender, and you can use that hopefully for, a rate buy down.
Nice.
Yeah, the best time to buy is actually 20 years ago. Just like
Yeah.
when you plant a tree, best time to plant a tree, 20 years ago. So basically, whenever you can, buy it.
Yeah, no, I love that. So it's crazy because I bought homes in 2013, 2016, 2018, and at those times, home prices were high at the time. I mean, home prices had just gone up. Oh my gosh, I'm spending all this money. These are so much. But then now 10 years later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I bought when I did, because now
Exactly.
they've appreciated so much. I just really think people that buy now are going to look back 10 years from now and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I bought in 2024. And I
Yeah.
love something that Michelle said, and that was, yeah, rates are high. So logic would be it is a bad time to buy, right? But the reality is it's keeping a lot of buyers out that would be competing on homes. So good comment there, Michelle. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, our next question for today. Michelle, I'm going to ask you this one, and that is, what is the first thing you should do if you're thinking about buying a home?
First things first, talk to a lender. That's always the first thing I ask somebody who's interested in buying a home, because sometimes they don't even know what price point they're even looking at. And sometimes they don't think they're able to buy, but actually they find out that they are. So first things first, talk to a lender.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And we don't know what we don't know. And so by getting pre-approved, we can definitely find out what our options are.
Yep.
Jeff, should I use a realtor to buy a home? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I definitely think you should. I mean, it's the largest purchase you might make in your entire life. It's good to have experienced and dedicated agents representing you and helping you get the best deal possible. There's so many steps to the process. It's actually hard to remember them all. I mean, there's so much complicated paperwork and contracts and offers and counter offers, setting up showings, dealing with inspections, appraisals, repairs. And there was this I was reading this report in the National Association of Realtors. It's the 2023 profile of buyers and sellers. And I was actually shocked. I didn't even think it was a real thing, but it's talking about FSBOs, which are for sale by owner. So that's no realtor assisted them with it. So this is from 2023. That house without a real estate agent sold for $310,000 versus an agent assisted home sale of 405,000. I mean, I didn't do the math to figure out the percentage, but that's like over 30%. I mean, that's crazy. So you think, oh, I'm going to save money by not having an agent. Well, that's not the case.
So we have one going on right now. A buyer came to us who was represented by a real estate agent, and they're buying a home for about $250,000. And this is happening right now. The appraisal came back over 400,000. The seller had no agent representing them. They had not sought anybody's professional opinion and just sold it at whatever price they thought. And then now that they found out that that price is higher, they're trying to back out. And unfortunately, everything's in writing, and they should have hired a professional at their side. They thought they were saving some money, and unfortunately, I think it's going to cost them a lot of money.
Yeah, and that buyer sure got a good deal.
That had an agent working
Yeah.
with them. So,
Yeah.
well, absolutely. Very good. Michelle, is it better to rent or to buy?
Well, short term, you can rent. Like it's good to rent if you like don't know, how long you're going to be in a town or where you want to land. Short term renting's good, but long term, man, you just got to buy. If you can buy, buy. Look at it like whether you're paying rent or a mortgage, you're paying down a mortgage, and so right now rents or mortgage rates are around 7%, and if you're renting, you're really paying 100%. So short term, it's good to rent if you need to, but long term, I would say buy.
Our next question for today is, how much will it cost to buy a home? So Jeff, you want to jump in on this one, and I'll finish up if that's okay.
There's a few different expenses to be aware of, like earnest money. You should have that, and depending on the situation, it could be anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000. It just depends on the cost of the house and the situation. Then you could have a down payment. You might not have a down payment because there are a lot of deals that you can talk about, James, where nothing down. Then you're gonna have a home inspection. That could be anywhere from $300 to $500. An appraisal could run $500 to $700. So really, those are the only expenses when it comes to buying a home.
I love that. And a question I get asked all the time is the earnest money. So someone puts down 1,000 or 3,000. Where does that go? And that's part of your down payment, part of your closing costs there at closing. I have had several deals where we have the seller paying closing costs. We're doing a 0 down loan, and we can get the client back their earnest money at closing. So it's a lot of options out there to get into homes. Michelle, do I need 20% down to buy a house?
No, you really don't. you can get in 3 to 5%. Sometimes, like you guys said, nothing down. Again, this is something you want to talk to your lender about, and they'll figure out the best product out there for you. You know, a lot of people are thinking they have to save all this money, and they just can't even save up enough down payment as fast as the prices are going up. So that's why I always say, talk to a lender, see where you're at, and see what he can help you do.
I've talked to so many people that are, hey, I'm waiting to buy till I save up my 20%.
Not
And
necessarily.
it's crazy because in the US, over the last 80 years, home prices have gone up on average 4.51%. That's 80 years of data. Here in Utah, our median home price is 500,000, give or take a bit. That means roughly a home will go up 18,500 per year. So as you're waiting and saving, you're going to be paying more and more the longer you wait. So yeah, come talk to us. Let's get you pre-approved. I mean, we have 0 down products. We have 3.5%, 3% down. You don't need the 20% down to buy the house. So, all right, let's talk about time frames. How much time should I expect from the time I say, hey, I want to buy a house to actually getting into that first house? Geoff, you want to take this one?
Sure. There's 4 steps to consider, and those take about anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. It just depends on the scenario. But first of all, like we mentioned earlier, get pre-approved. That could take 1 day to 5 days. Then finding the right home, that could take days to a couple weeks. Just like I said, depends on the inventory and what you like. Then there's once you find your house, you got to negotiate. That could take a couple days, up to a week maybe. And then there's the closing. To get to the closing, there's all the appraisal, inspections, and any repairs that might have to be made. And that could take 3 to 4 weeks. So you add all that up, it could be, I mean, sometimes you can close really fast, like in 4 weeks, that's rare, but it could take about 6 to 8 weeks, average 6, I'd say.
All right, to get the best rate, let's talk about that. People come in, hey, how do I get the lowest interest rate so I can get the lowest payment possible? When it comes to interest rates, there's really 2 factors. There's 2 main key factors, and that is where the market is currently, where the current interest rates are, and your credit scores. Now, obviously, you don't have any control over market rates. You can't call up the president and say, hey, I'm buying a house. Can you lower those rates for a few weeks so I can get in? But you can take care of your credit and make sure you get that credit score as high as possible to get that best deal. So obviously make your payments on time. Some big things some big no-nos, and that is if you're looking to buy a house, be very careful taking out any new credit within 6 months of buying the house. New credit within 6 months that show up on your credit report are going to hurt your scores. After 6 months, they start to help out. So I had a client come to me once that we got pre-approved. He took a little while to buy a house, and he bought a car in the meantime, and it had been long enough I had to repull credit. His scores dropped 50 points because he had that new trade line. So just be very careful buying anything new. So let's say you're in Kohl's and they ask you to fill out a free application to save 30% off. Don't do it while you're looking to buy a house. Wait until you're in your house. And then another thing is, and this is probably the biggest thing with credit, and that is your limit to balance ratio on your credit cards. So if your balances are near the limits, you're going to have your scores drop. And if your balances are lower, then you're going to get better credit. So a secret that I tell people, and that is let's say you pay your credit cards off every month, but you've got a $2,000 limit and you charge up about $1,500 per month. Well, even though you pay that off every month, it's going to report that $1,500, 75% utilization. That's going to lower your credit scores. So a secret is if you're getting ready to buy a house is go in and pay your credit cards off early before the billing cycle ends. Of course, you'll have to make one final payment when the cycle ends, but that there can raise your points and get you lower interest rates. All right, our final question for today is how long do I have to be on my job to be able to buy a home? Some people think they have to be on their job for 2 years and they can't even look at homes until they've been there for 2 years, or other people think you've got to be in the same line of work. And I'm here to tell you that neither of those are true. Now, technically, we're going to need a 2-year work history, but it doesn't have to be in the same job, and it does not have to be in the same line of work. What we care about is we want to be able to see consistency. Can this client consistently bring in income? Now, if you're self-employed, of course, you would need to have 2 years of self-employment, but working for somebody, we've even gotten people loans before they started their job. Like we had a principal that worked in Moab, and he got transferred to a new school district in Salt Lake City. Starting in August, we got him a loan in July because he had a contract already with which specified his salary, and we got him a loan before he even started his new job. So don't let your job slow you down, but everyone's case is different, and that's why we do recommend getting pre-approved as early as possible so we can really find out. So Geoff, Michelle, do you have anything else you want to add to today's videos? Any thoughts?
It's fun.
Yeah. We have the best job. We get to help people buy homes. Isn't that cool?
It is very cool. And it's just, I love having a team, a lender that we can highly recommend, you know, and just having other people that, because we work with a lot of people. So it's just nice to have a good team of people that we can trust and, you know, work closely with. So we really do appreciate you, James. Thanks.
I appreciate you. And to all our listeners out there, I've worked with Geoff and Michelle for many, many months and years, and I love working with them. They're professional. They're on top of their game. Highly, highly recommend them. So thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.